Party decoration has been seen as one of the most profitable businesses by some of the people who have ventured into it. But without knowing how to come up with it, definitely one will end up falling. Today, I'm here with one of the renowned party decorators in Soroti City and of course Teso at large, and he's actually going to take us through his life, how he started, how he entered into this business of decoration and how far he is right now. I believe after you watching this interview, you'll actually be able to learn some of the things that you need to actually put in mind before venturing into this business. Hello.
Yes, Nathan.
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, would you please introduce yourself to the viewers who are watching right now?
Yeah, I'm called Opio Derrick.
Yes.
And I'm a born of Soroti.
Yes.
And I've grown up here.
Yeah. Currently, you have been known as one of the biggest party decorators within Soroti City and some parts in Teso. And I believe you have a journey. It didn't just come out of nowhere and reach this level. Would you mind taking us through how you came up with this idea of setting up this business?
Indeed, it is a journey. It has been a very long journey.
Yes.
I started decoration with some of the renowned decorators in this town, the pioneers of decoration in Soroti.
Yes.
That was around 2007. And that year was the year when I sat for my senior 4. But before I sat for my senior 4, I used to hustle to pay my school fees in Soroti SS. I remember that time a friend gave me a bicycle on loan, and I could ride my bicycle and pay back his money for the bicycle. So meaning that I used to ride boda bicycle in this town. Then I met a friend called James Somara.
Yes.
For him, he majorly bases in cake baking. So I remember the first time he invited me for a function. I sat down and calculated. I said, when I ride my bicycle in a day, I can get 10,000. How about going for an invitation he's inviting me for? How much will I be paid?
Yes.
So I turned him down. So the following week, he again invited me. He said, Derrick, last week you dodged, but this time don't miss. Come, we go. I again dodged him. Now the third time, he got me red-handed. I had nowhere to go. He said, now that you've come, let's go. So I wait for some party in Amen, within town.
Yes.
So that day I remember it was my first day, and we're all like learning, because even him, he didn't have experience. So we're all learning, we're finding things that were really new to us. And at the end of the day, at the end of the function, I sat down and was like, going out is so nice. You'll have free food. At the end of the day, you again paid. And that day, I remember he paid me 10,000 shillings. So I was like, I didn't hustle like riding a bicycle. And at the end of the day, I didn't spend money to feed myself. So it must be a good thing. So the next time he invited me, told me we are going very far out of town. And we went to Amolatar. Now, along the way, I kept on picturing, and I'm like, this work is so good. You even move out of town. So what motivated me to start the venture in Deco, one was the frequent movements of out of town, like you keep on visiting new places, the ventures, and then also like the payments at that time. There wasn't much hustling compared to someone who goes to the site, you build the whole day and you pay the same money of 10,000, and then you're riding the bicycle the whole day, you maybe get 5,000, and here you go, you're venturing, you're eating free food, you're getting paid. So that's how I got motivated. Then later on, he introduced me to his boss. That time it was a lady called Lucia. Now in town at that time it was only Lucia, and then there was some lady called Jenna Ballo. Those were the two big decorators we had in town. So when he introduced me to Lucia, it was me, Lucia, and James that time doing the business. So for me, I would go and do the work in the field work, but at the same time, we're all learning. So Lucia introduced me to the bride and groom magazines. She could always buy them. So whenever she could buy, she could give me to check through. So like whenever I would go through, I would find new ideas. So I developed the heart of saying, why can't I also come up with my own ideas in this business? So every other time, whenever I was free, I would sit down with my pen or pencil with a piece of paper, draw down my designs. So I think if we did this design, how will it come out? But also this design, how will I arrive to this design? So at the end of the day, I would sit down, draw patterns, come up with those patterns, think deep about those patterns, and see how I can apply them. Next time we move out to the field, I try to apply out those patterns, and they would really work out. So after a period of about 10 years, I had become the main designer in Lucia's company. And then also other people around town, other decorators who came up. We had the Lady Tisha, she came in along the way. We had by that time, Gina Events, she also came up along the way. But like all the boys who used to work in those companies would always come and ask for ideas from Derrick. So like they come, when a new idea comes up and I've caught it up, they also come and ask, how would you do it? So like I would give them free ideas, share ideas freely.
So you simply also learned this as just a skill out of like always moving to events, so you picked interest in this and you got the knowledge.
In fact, James put me to the exposure of events, and then I had to begin developing the ideas along the way. So after a period of 10 years working with Lucia, that was from about 2007 to around 2014, 15, we had a misagreement along the way.
You guys, you faced issues with your boss?
Yeah, when I was working with her, I was in a comfort zone. I felt I was comfortable earning whatever I was earning, and I really didn't think of starting my own company. But then certain incidents happened to open our eyes. Not like I really didn't think that the boss had worked for very long would develop that mindset of wanting to create fights. I remember having my first client, very first client who opened up my way. We agreed upon a certain amount, and the amount my boss had never worked for before. And that was 2 million shillings. That time in 2014, that was a lot of money for,
Some big money.
because for her, the biggest amount of money she would charge was between 700,000 and 1 million.
But you were able to bring in a deal of 2
A
million.
deal of 2 million shillings.
Yes.
And I knew by this time, if that deal was to go through, we're going to have a breakthrough and give our competitors a distance.
Yes.
So the clients knew me, they didn't know her. And in the committees, they really didn't want my boss to do the work. They trusted me because they were my OBs and OG, were in the same class, and they believed I would do for them better work. But also I was bargaining for the deal so that I would go to my boss and tell her, this is the deal we have on the ground on such and such a date. I'll handle it, I'll give you the money, then you'll see the difference that you can give me. But instead, when I received the first deposit and I went to my boss and asked her, before I could go to my boss, someone within the committee called her and said, your boy was here and he received some money. So when he received the money, I think he will deliver it to you. And yet that day, the committee, when they were calling her to come to the committee meeting, she didn't want to appear. She refused to pick up the calls.
She saw that maybe she was not going to get anything from the committee.
Her mindset was, since she had worked with this church before, she thought they would still want her to do the work at the other same rate she did before. Because I remember the first wedding she did in that church, she charged them 300,000 for wedding.
Yes.
So the committee members still said Lucia could do for them business at 300,000, and yet had bargained for 2 million.
2 million.
So the committee was 2 million all for what? That is a lot of money. It's wasting money. Yes. What kind of decoration is that costs 2 million shillings? So to somehow the clients even thought that I was cheating them, and I wasn't going to deliver exactly what they really wanted. So I think that is what made my boss not to pick up the calls. So when I was given the first deposit of 500,000, remember my boss calling me, and then she was like, "Are you aware of 18th December?" I said, "Yeah, I'm aware of that date, and there is business that I'm coming to discuss with you. The client has already confirmed." She said, "I'll not be around."
Wow. For that very event?
Not for the very event, for the day I was supposed to meet her. So I asked her, how about the following day? She said, "I'll still not be around." So like for the whole week, she said she wouldn't be around. So I remained pondering within myself what to do. I relaxed, since she is someone I'd been working with for long. So that day when I stepped town, I remember meeting one of the boys. He was called Eddie. He used to work with some lady called Esther. The guy was like, Derrick, what's wrong with your boss?" I met her telling my boss that you've started receiving money using her name. I told the boy, I didn't receive money using her name. When I went to the committee, I went as Derrick, not as Lucia. And when I received that money, even the client knows it is Derrick, not Lucia, going to do the business. I took it for granted. So when I moved around town, I got some lady called Jenna Ballo, one of the biggest decorators, the founders of decoration in town, Soroti. She called me, "My son, come. So I went to her. She was like, "First sit down and tell me, what is your problem? What is the problem between you and your boss?" She called me yesterday, and she said you've started receiving money using her name. And I was so shocked. "Tell me, what is the problem?" So I took time to explain to my boss about the deal and how the clients had trusted me, and how personally, not having things that would carry out the business, I was going to take the money to her.
Yes.
I had nothing to use for business that day. So she was like, "Your boss told me if you call me asking for items to use, I shouldn't give you."
Wow, that was how far it reached.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, this is serious. So when I moved around town again, I met one of the suppliers, the guy who was the main supplier of items of decoration in town. He used to give us pins, ribbons, flowers, and sometimes tents. He's called Thabiti. So Thabit was like, "Derrick, I've been wanting to find you, but I didn't have your number. What is the problem? Tell me, what's going on between you with your boss?"
Yes.
She told me, if you call me asking for anything, I shouldn't give you. That you've started receiving money using her name. That was now the last nail on my head. I went and sat down and I was like, if this was really a boss who wishes you well, she would have called me, sat me down, and asked me, "Derrick, what is going on?" Other than moving around, slandering with my name. So I really got so pissed. I was like, I didn't expect this from my boss that I've worked for for a very long period of time. 10 years is a long period. Whenever I go to the field, I answer questions I'm not even supposed to answer on her behalf. I handle business for her. I told myself that probably she didn't appreciate my work. So within the same week, as I was still thinking of what to do next, I got a call from another friend who was a friend, and he really needed that help. He was called, the name has gone off, but he's a pastor in Lifeline Church. Remember him giving me a deal of 400,000 shillings, and was my second client. Now I said, at this point of time,
Yes.
it's my turning point. I have to move forward. The 500,000, the first deposit I had from Nathan, the first client, and the 400,000, put it together, that was 900,000. I decided to buy flowers, then bought flower stands, then bought an arch. Those were the main items I needed to have, the must-have, whereby I can't go out and buy the other service providers that give me this.
Yes.
However, when it came to seat covers, the linens, the table linen, those were easily accessible. I already had made my contacts in Kampala, so I just sent small money to Kampala, hired whatever I needed, and used for the two functions. Now, the two customers really turned my life around. And the whole town, the other competitors, for them were celebrating. They were celebrating that the brain for Lucia has been knocked out of the business. I mean, has been knocked out, meaning Lucia would be knocked out of business. And to the other hand, they were celebrating knowing that I wouldn't sustain myself in business since I didn't have things to use in the business. Now, later on, I realized that the clients I kept getting on the way, they would come and tell you, Derrick, we've seen you do work before. But your competitors told us you don't have things to use. So how do you convince us that you'll do business?
Yes.
So that became hard to do business with clients from Soroti and Teso. I had to change the strategy of doing business in order to remain into competition.
Yes.
Now, what I had to do was to use my Facebook page to advertise myself. And after a period of like 2 years, it was a rough time. From the time I started, it was really so rough for about 2-3 years. It was really hard to get business. And then when I sustained myself online, kept on talking about myself, talking about my company, I kept on getting positive feedback from clients outside Soroti. My next businesses began coming from Kampala. People who who hail from Teso, but live in Kampala. So they kept on giving me business. Someone comes with a business of 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, and life kept on moving on. So by 2019, I got my client who gave me a breakthrough. That was, one of them was called Barbara. Barbara, daughter to former MP contestant Serere. He is well known with his name of Nokia.
Yes.
Yeah, she really gave me a breakthrough. That was in 2019, early. And then in 2020, her sister also got married. Now, that time it found out that after the lockdown, were just resurfacing
Yes.
in the business. So I came up with new ideas because I told myself I have to compete with my competitors and have to come up with new ideas that will really totally knock them out. So that time I came up with the new ideas of using stickers and boards that other competitors had no idea about. And that is what sold me that year, 2020, till now.
That has been a story of your journey from how you started and where you are right now. If not, your boss actually starting to squeeze you, you wouldn't maybe have picked interest. To come out of-
No. I really never thought about it because I was in my comfort zone. I said, as long as I can get something small, I really had no interest of competing with her since she was my boss. But then she pushed me to that direction of competition.
Your boss pushed you and made you a successful person.
Uh-huh.
That's what we can say. Yes. How your boss made you successful.
But I always appreciate her for that. So
you always still meet up with her once in a while?
for very long, from that period of about 2014, we really didn't talk. In fact, whenever we even met on the way, it was high. But in 2023, one of the service providers in town, Thabiti, made it possible that we met and we really had to reconcile. She went to Thabiti asking for some ideas, really ideas that would make her be sustained in the business. Then Thabiti told her that the only person who can help you in those ideas is your son, Derrick. If you can talk to him, he will really help you out.
Yes.
So we abruptly met in Thabiti's shop. When we met, we really had to reconcile, and then we discussed business. I told her, Mommy, I'm going to help you out, but first you have to accept to invest in money. Because at this rate, for you to compete with the other people, you'll need to put in money.
Yes.
So slowly by slowly, she has been investing in money, like putting in money, and she's resurrecting. she's
back again.
She's back in business. Because I remember early this year, she called me about some business, asking about quotations.
Yes.
I gave her quotation, and she succeeded getting a business of about 10 million.
Wow, that is a good one.
What she had never gotten before in her lifetime.
So you've again ended up becoming a break school for her again.
Yeah.
This is so good. Wow, this is so good. I hope someone outside actually gets to learn it. Even if someone has done something bad to you, doesn't mean that maybe that is the end of friendship or end of life. Something's always happened for a reason.
That is true.
And the reason behind her doing that, it changed you. And through changing you, you've again brought her back.
Yeah.
And right now, she also, I believe she also keeps on praying for you, and she's like, now, because of this guy, I'm again back.
Yeah, I only hope she keeps praying.
I definitely believe now she actually does it. Now, Derrick,
Yes.
you're now the man of the business in Soroti. You're known, and you're doing a lot of decoration, a lot of ideas, a lot of innovations, bringing some other things that people have never seen, and of course the rest. What challenges are you facing?
In the beginning, when I was starting, the challenge I had was capital. Like, I didn't have capital.
Yes.
I didn't start with capital whereby I say that this is 20 million investing in the business. No.
Yes.
I had to restrain myself from certain pleasures to achieve my bigger picture. I made sure I don't involve myself in girlfriends. I restrained myself from issues of alcoholism.
Yes.
Because I knew that would divert my goal, and I had to focus. I had to deny myself, let's say, luxury. Denied luxury to invest in the business. So whatever small money I had to get, I had to put in the business. So you find that capital becomes a bigger challenge. That was my main challenge. Competition with the other competitors, people doing the same business, isn't a big challenge, because really I have to think harder every now and then. I have to do what they can't do.
Yes.
To knock them out of what? Competition. So my main challenge has been capital, to probably have what other people do not have, so that maybe I keep that stream of money. Like when you get money from a client, I really can't have the money like all for myself. Find that if a client gives you like 10 million, at the end of the day you're having 5 million go to other hands, and then maybe another 2 million investment, and then maybe another 2 million paying the people you're working with. At the end of the day, you remain with maybe 1 million to sustain you, pay rent, and do other things. So I think the major challenge has been capital.
The major challenge has been capital.
Yeah, that has been the major challenge.
And at least I believe you've been actually trying to tackle through some of the challenges associated with the capital, through some of the things that come in. So right now, where do you find yourself right now? So, from the time you came into investing this on your own?
From the time I came in up to now, my investment capital should be about 80 million to 100 million.
80 million to 100 million.
Yeah.
And that's such a for my deal of two clients. That was
2 clients, 500,000
and
first deposit,
yes, and 400.
and then 400,000.
900,000 change your life, and today you are worth 80 to 100 million.
Exactly. But of course, that first client was giving me a deal of 2 million,
Yes.
and then the other one was giving me a deal of 400,000.
Yes.
So the 2 million and then the 400,000 in the events business that needs an initial capital of not less than 30 million
Yes.
changed my life.
That's true. Yes.
Because currently, if someone wants to come to the pace I am in, you have to come in with either 30 million to 50 million, your initial capital.
Yes.
But of course, at that time, I only had 2 clients who changed my life.
Okay, Derrick, you've done several businesses within Teso and out of Teso. You've done a number of decorations, and you've currently left a name. And of course, you know it's life. Today you can be alive, tomorrow maybe we are going. Do you train people?
Yeah, I do train. I do train. Personally, the boys who work with me, I train them. Like I've been giving them free training, no payment. You come and work as you're learning. At the end of the day, you're working, but you're even being paid. And then also to expand the knowledge, like for people who really, to avoid scarcity of decorators.
Yes.
There is a lady who opened up a school called Rev Vocational,
Yes.
and she had decoration as a course. And I've worked with her to train up some of the students who have really passed out so well. So that's all the 3 lots that I've trained have passed so well.
Yes.
But like in case there are those people who really want to learn the work, you have trained so many.
And there are still more who are coming up.
And there are still more coming up. I've trained them.
Life is truly a journey.
Yeah, life is a journey.
Now you can see someone actually looking good outside there, but you don't know the story behind how did the person come into that.
Yeah, when I tell someone that I rode the bicycle border in this town, people don't believe it.
So you're a former border.
Border.
Former border, and who are standing to one of the biggest decorators right now.
That is true.
A number of people have come into this business, but they are failing. What do you think is making this to happen? People are failing to do this kind of business.
The business, one, is tricky. Two, it's hard to convince a client to trust you with that cash.
Yes.
Just to tell them that I'll deliver this. It's very hard for a client to really believe in you, unless they've seen either you do work elsewhere. Though sometimes you can chance those clients who will blindly trust in you. So where some people have messed up is they've probably gotten clients who are family members, clients who are friends,
Yes.
and they convince them to believe in them.
Yes.
The clients believe in them, but they fail to deliver what they promised. So in events business, once you fail to deliver what you promised, you lose out. Because how I believe in myself, or the strategy I have always taken up is in every business, there are potential clients. So in every event that I handle, there are potential clients in it. It may not be immediately, it may be after a period of a year or two,
Yes.
but the potential clients. So I try to sustain the quality of my work so that at the end of the day, even after 2 years, someone will call you and remind you, I was in such and such an event and you did quite good work.
Yes.
It's the reason I've called you.
Okay, so what advice would you give those people who are planning to come into this business?
The people who are planning to come into this business, one, I advise them to be patient. Two, once they venture, they shouldn't give up. Try as much as possible to be patient, because this is what I went through. After my 2 businesses in 1 month, I took like a year without business. Remember, my boss has fired me. I just didn't give up because my boss has fired me. I had to begin taking up small works. Lady Tisha calls you, comes, says, Derrick, there's something, I want something specific. My boys can't do, but you can do it. Come and do for me. You go there, you do the work. Next time another person calls you, says, Derrick, come. I have some business, but I need your idea in flowers. You go, you handle the flowers. So like for a period of 2 years, 2-3 years, business was really hard. It was really so tough. But I didn't give up. And then also the clients who really trusted me. One of them is, she's called Pastor Grace, from formerly Lifeline and then currently in Light Resurrection. That lady trusted in me so much beyond, I think amongst my clients, she's one who has really trusted in my work more than any other. And even today, whenever we meet, she says, Derrick, you're a good decorator. Says, Derrick, you're skilled. Derrick, you do what other people can't do. That lady, Mama Grace, Pastor Grace, Tuke, she has really believed in me. And she really stood with me within that period of time.
Yes.
She's one of the people who played a bigger role. So I would advise the people who are venturing in this business, one is to be patient once you start the business. Don't give up. Because once you give up and you say you're closing the business, you've closed out your first clients that you started with.
Yes.
Like you close them out. And yet at some point they would still keep on referring. Like Nathan and Fiona, my first clients, still keep referring people to me. And that is the beauty of not giving up. Imagine they call and you're like, oh, I've closed.
Yes.
Things became tough. I sold out my things.
Yes.
So other people come in with the high expectation saying events has a lot of money. Imagine someone giving you 10 million. And like all 10 million is yours. No, 10 million is not all yours. You're going to share with other people. But why others fail, it's because you're given 10 million and you say, I want to keep it to myself.
You get excited.
You get excited. Keep it yourself. At the end of the day, you've spent on your drinking with your friends, you've spent it on luxury. At the end of the day, when you come to deliver the work, there's no money. Money is done. So cut away luxury. If you've been given money for a purpose, put it into that business. Don't divert another client's money to do another client's business, because you will fail. So be patient. Know how to manage the resources, the money you've been given by a client. Put it into that business. If you're adding in something, probably you can add in. Also accept to share the money with other service providers. If you don't have glasses, don't say, now since I've been given 10 million, I want to buy glasses once. Somewhere it will affect you. Accept to hire glasses from another person who has. If you don't have flowers, don't say, since I don't have flowers, let me buy flowers at once. No, it will affect the business. First hire from another person as you add something small. That is if you don't have capital. But if you have capital, well and good, go and buy flowers, buy glasses, buy tables, buy tents, buy chairs, buy whatever you want. Yeah. But once you have those things, be patient.
Okay, so as we come into the conclusion of this interview, where do you find yourself in nearby future?
I've given myself a goal of 5 years from now. This is 2024.
Yes.
By 2029, I need when I can do business beyond Uganda. I've done business once in Kenya. I've been in Kenya once, but I need to continue moving out. I need to go to continue going to Kenya, continue going to Tanzania, Rwanda, like move around East Africa. I've done business in Kampala, out of Kampala, let's say out of Soroti, Gulu, Lira, but I need to really expand, go beyond Uganda. So by 2029, that is a goal of 5 years from today, I need to be beyond a household name.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for honoring this interview. And I believe someone who is watching outside there will actually pick an advice out of this conversation that we have had with Derrick. Remember, Derrick started from zero. He was a border rider who ventured into working for other people. But of course, after facing some differences with his boss, two clients managed to change his life. And through that, through the focus that he had and the mission, the goal that he had today, he's one of the renowned party decorators that we have in Soroti. And of course, Teso at large. Derrick is located, he has his outlet around Corner Plaza, right?
Yeah, Corner Plaza.
Yeah, just come to Corner Plaza. When you ask for Derrick, you'll definitely be directed. He's one of the known guys around Soroti City. So definitely, you'll actually not get lost. He has actually the best decoration. That's actually the best work. He gives you the best, so that you actually keep on referring other people to him. My name is Nathan Eyago. We left home to change home.